Role-playing is a lot more than just a creative outlet for me. In the same way that a writer or a painter can find meditation in their work, I find telling a story with my friends has the same effect on me. I myself made many errors when I was overexcited and uneducated, and I really wish that I had had resources like this when I was first starting. Hello, my name is MoMo O'Brien. I make documentary videos about immersive experiences all over the world, and I will be your guide. The first character I roleplayed, I guess, would be like playing make-believe on the school playground. I was always Hermione. We used colored pencils as wands and acted out little stories of our own creation. Many years later, I basically did the same thing, but in a castle in England. I've documented a large amount of roleplay events like LARPs, where you are assigned or make a character, then pretend to be that character in order to tell a story with other people, like a big adult game of make-believe. My Paidia Pathway lesson is the basics of roleplaying. I think my pathway is important to learn because roleplaying is a hobby that's still very underrepresented and niche. It's full of very real adrenaline and emotions all happening in real time. The skill that viewers will gain from my pathway is how to enter roleplay communities safely and responsibly and have the foundation to build up your own skill and knowledge. In my decade of roleplaying in different styles, communities, and mediums, I've learned a lot, so I'm going to pass what I have learned on to you! Welcome to the wonderful world of make-believe for grown-ups. There's no wrong way to roleplay as long as it's done safely and responsibly, but it's important to find the right space for you. You want to be in character all the time, and you want crafting the narrative to be the main priority. You might want to look for something like American freeform LARP, which is a lot more like improv acting and usually develops a culture of being in character all of the time. Or maybe you'll like Boffer LARP, which is a lot more game-based. The rulebooks are usually heavily detailed, characters have stats and hit points, and it usually develops a culture of casual role-playing and light immersion. I have a lot of friends that like both, or have a preference to one. Some of my friends find a lot of immersion in the game mechanics and how it adds to the story of their character. They love the feeling that they get after a big boss battle that both they and their character are trying very hard to beat, and how it affects the scenes that play out afterwards. That's something called character bleed, which we will get into later. Character tips. My top tip for creating a compelling character: give them a solid motivation. What do they want more than anything in the world? Let's use an absolutely classic first character example. Your entire village was killed by an evil nemesis, and now you're on a hunt to destroy them. Now, let's take that and boil that down to a simple concept that you can recall in any situation. What do they really want from that? Is it a feeling of control or power that eliminating that person would bring them? A feeling of forgiveness or retribution that they can no longer get from their family? Or perhaps it's a sense of heroics or duty to prevent this person from hurting anybody else. Now, let's add something to the other end of that spectrum. Stakes. What will happen if your character doesn't achieve this goal? This can usually just be the opposite of the boiled down motivation. Control over their life or no control over their life? Forgiveness or guilt? Or something as simple as, if you do not kill this person, they will kill other people. Now that we have this spectrum of motivation and stakes, we can easily track where a character is at emotionally and even flesh out their personality. If your character is motivated by a sense of control, maybe they like everything very neat and organized. If something happens that's beyond their control, like rain, they may be more likely to have an emotional reaction to it. If your character is motivated by forgiveness, it may be more likely that they seek the approval of others. And if another character is upset with them, they're more likely to take it very personally. So that would also be a good opportunity for you to have a scene like, I'm sorry, it's just, I never got the forgiveness of my family. Storytelling usually has this rule of show, don't tell. In role-playing, you can kind of tell and don't show. If you tell people, I work alone, they'll usually just believe that, oh, he works alone. This is a framework that you can use to measure your character's emotional responses and actions, but I encourage you to prioritize fun. About 1 in 5 LARPers has made a character that doesn't speak at all, realizes that's not fun for them or engaging for other people, and then suddenly has them start speaking. That is allowed. I am 1 in 5 LARPers. Not just what's fun for you, but what's fun for the players around you. Which leads us to our next lesson. Collaborative storytelling. Role-playing, at its core, is collaborative storytelling. Collaborative being the key word there. Role-playing is not about you. It's very common for new players to get really excited about writing their character's story and get a little case of protagonist syndrome. And if everybody has protagonist syndrome, it'd be like watching Lord of the Rings with 9 Frodos. One of the most important skills you can teach yourself going in is how to give more than you get. Ask other characters where they came from. Invite new players onto your missions. And one of the most important things when telling a story collaboratively is to communicate. The more intense the roleplay, the more important it is to be talking to your group completely out of character. This is especially true if you're playing an antagonistic character. It is really not about you if you are playing a character that is emotionally or verbally abusive. And characters like that require an extra layer of responsibility and selflessness. Before you begin, make sure you say, I am playing a mean character. What are you okay with and what are you not? Role-playing is a team sport, so just remember to work together, communicate with each other, and weave this tale collaboratively. In role-playing, no one can be the protagonist, so that everyone has a chance to be the protagonist. So if you're going to be role-playing, there's a term you need to know: bleed. It's a complex topic, but it's something that needs to be on your radar right away. Bleed is when your character's emotions transfer to you, or your emotions transfer to your characters. An example of bad bleed would be if I, a player, am mad at another player. Once we're in character, use that as an excuse to scream at that other person and expel that negative energy and gain gratification from it. An example of good bleed would be the confident feeling you get after your character does something really cool. Remember to check in on other players that you've had intense scenes with just to see how they're doing. Those are the basics, but there's plenty of articles and videos made about the complex topic of bleed if you'd like to do further research yourself. Okay, here's your character tip homework. Let's make something from nothing. We're going to use a very common role-playing genre, classic fantasy. Whatever that means to you. What kind of character would you find fun to play in that universe? Once you've thought about that, think about what would make that character fun for other people. Maybe your character likes to bake, so you bring people cookies. Maybe you want to play some kind of army general. Offer to run drills in the morning. Then, using all the tips we've talked about, think about what they want, what'll happen if they don't get it, flesh out their personality, then think of a name. I'm a big fan of coming up with a name that's going to be easy for people to remember, but also easy to remember that it's my character's name. I played a character with red hair, whose name was Red. Not the most complex thing in the world, but very easy for people to remember, and if anybody was looking for me, very easy to describe. The diversity of the role-playing community is definitely changing. When I first started, I was one of the only girls, and a lot of the times when I find a girl who LARPs who is making content and I follow them, I get a little message like, oh my god, I started LARPing because of you, which is always a really good feeling. I don't think there's an age where you're too old for role-playing, but I remember going to a combat game once and there was this archery corps that was comprised entirely of women, and amongst them was an elderly woman with wrinkled skin and silver hair, and she looked so cool, kicking butt with a bow and arrow. I think about her a lot, and I'm actually kind of excited to grow into an older LARPer because that opens so many doors for the kinds of characters I could portray. We still have a long way to go, but I am really proud of the progress that we have made as a community. And look at that! You've taken your first steps into the wonderful world of live-action roleplay. Thank you for watching. I am MoMo O'Brien, and I have been your guide. Yeah, I know, they specifically said you're not allowed to be here. No, I can't pet you right now. They specifically said no kitties. Get out of here, please. My camera's about to die. Please, just get out of here. Go, Lucy, please. No, I'm sorry. You gotta go. Come on, Luce.